Hi everyone, my name is Rivka Rosenzberg. People call me Rivki. Today I will teach you 5th graders a very special lesson. The lesson is called The Early Bird. Let's begin. What will we do today? We will learn a few important words and expressions. We will read a very beautiful story. We will do a few exercises, and at the end, I will give you an arts and crafts activity. By the end of this lesson, you can read and write new words. For example, dawn, nest. Read and write new expressions. For example, early bird. We will read a story. You will be able to reflect, to think on the moral of the story. And we will practice an art activity. What do you need for this lesson? You would need some colors, a pencil and an eraser, and of course your notebook. Are you ready to begin? I am. What does early bird mean? Look at the bird. What does the bird have on its hand? A watch. And it says early bird. What does early bird mean? What do you think? Early bird means to start something very, very early. For example, sometimes when you go to the store, you see a sign, early bird, minus 20% off. Or you can see early bird special, or super early bird, minus 50% off. Or you can say early bird offer. What does that mean? It means when you go to the store and they have specials early before the time of the real specials, you have early bird specials. You have extra special. Early bird is very, very, very early. For example, in the United States or in Canada, there is a sale season in the store in December. So early bird means probably a week or two before. That means early birds before December. You have specials for people that come to the store before the time that the specials begin. Extra special. Let's look at the important vocabulary. Early. I am always early to my meetings, to my lessons, to class. I'm always very, very early. מוקדם. Shine your shoes. I have black shoes. I try to shine them with my brush every day. I shine my shoes. Let me put it back on. Make your bed. I make my bed every morning. I put my covers nicely on them. I make my bed. Brush the beak. That's funny, right? Usually, you're supposed to brush your teeth with a toothpaste and the toothbrush. Usually, you're supposed to brush your teeth. But here, you have brush the beak. It's very, very funny. It's the bird brushing its teeth like this, with the toothpaste and the toothbrush. The next word is hole. Do you see the squirrel? He has a hole. He lives in there. That's a hole. Cho in Hebrew. Comb his head. Comb, you use a comb. I use usually a brush. But in this picture, the person is combing his hair. But here it says comb your head, his head. Funny expression. The next word is dawn. Very, very, very early in the morning, it's dawn. Zricha. The next word is nest. Birds, they live in nest. You, I hope you have a house. I have an apartment. The bird lives in a nest. Important expressions we will learn today. Early bird. Early bird means being very, very early to something, to the store, to class, to school, early bird. What is the second expression that we will learn? The second expression is call it a day. Sometimes when I'm very tired at work and I want to go home early, I can say, it's 4 o'clock, I will call it a day. I will finish and I will go home. Do you see the person in the picture? It says, it's almost time for me to call it a day. It's almost time for me to finish my work and go home. Means call it a day, finish the day. So these are the two expressions you will learn today. Early bird and call it a day. Now there is a short exercise here. I would like you to match the pictures to the correct words. You have a word bank in front of you, A, B, and C, that's your word bank, and you have numbers 1, 2, and 3. I would like you to match the pictures to the word bank. Let's look at the words in the word bank. A, what does it say in A? Nest. Where is the nest? Where is the picture of the nest? B, call it a day. Finish your day and go home, close your day, call it a day. And C, early bird. Can you match the pictures to the correct words? Do this small exercise and I'll be back. What did you write in this exercise? Did you manage to match the pictures to the word in the word bank? Let's try together. Number 1, early bird. Of course, you see the bird there? He's looking at his watch. He's very early, early bird. He woke up early and he's an early riser. He's an early bird. Number 2, nest, of course. This is where the bird nests, where she lives, the bird. Number 3, call it a day. Finish the day and go home. While we are reading the story now, think about these questions. I will read the story with you, of course, but while you are reading, I would like you to think of 2 questions. Maybe you could write them in your notebook. Why did the early bird wake up early? This is question number 1. Question number 2 is, why did the worm go back to sleep? Let me repeat the questions. Why did the early bird wake up early? Question number 2, why did the worm, tolat, why did it go back to sleep? While we are reading, think about these questions. I would like to share with you a very, very special story today. It's a book by the author Mel Rosenberg. Mel is a professor, Professor Mel Rosenberg, and he wrote a book, and the book is called The Early Bird. The illustrations, the drawings, were done by Yael Radushkevitz. So Mel, we have the same last name. You remember my last name? Mel and I have the same last name, Rosenberg, but we're not related. We're not family. Mel Rosenberg wrote The Early Bird, and this is what I would like to share with you today. And Mel has a company for writing books. It's called ourbooks.com. Let's begin. The early bird woke up early. He shined his shoes, he made his bed, he brushed his beak, he combed his head. When he was sure he looked his best, he kissed his wife and left the nest. But even at the crack of dawn, early in the morning, the early worm, this is the worm, had upped and gone. The very next day, the early bird woke up long before dawn. There was no time to shine his shoes. He didn't have a moment to lose. He didn't try to look his best, just kissed his wife and left the nest. He stood near the wormhole on the ground. He waited and waited and hung around. He kept on waiting. He counted to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and walked about. But the early worm did not come out. Finally, he called it a day, flapped his wings, and flew away. Meanwhile, in her hole, the early worm awoke and smiled and rubbed her chin. Not having any place to go, she went straight back to sleep again. The end. Answer the questions that I've asked you before. Oh, I see that answer the questions in your notebook. These are the same questions as I asked you before. Why did the early bird wake up early? Number 2, why did the worm go back to sleep? Think about it. I'll come back in a few minutes. What did you answer in your notebook? Why did the early bird wake up early? You're right. The early bird woke up early, maybe to find a friend, his worm, maybe to go out and play with the worm outside, maybe to hang out with the worm. Hang out is slang, of course. Why did the early bird wake up early? He was an early riser. He gets up early. He wanted a friend. This is a possible answer. Number 2, why did the worm go back to sleep? The worm went back to sleep. He didn't feel like going out and playing. He didn't feel like getting out of bed. He just wanted to stay in bed. These are possible answers. Of course, when it's literature, it's a book or a poem, there are no correct answers. Anything is possible. But we can think why the author, Rosenzberg, had the early bird wake up early, and the worm, why did he make him go back to sleep? We can think of the reasons. Let's continue. What is the moral of the story? Think about it. Why did Professor Mel Rosenberg, why did he write this story? What did he want to tell us? The moral of the story. I think that the moral of the story, it can be connected to what Benjamin Franklin said once. Who's Benjamin Franklin? You should go home and research it. Look on Google who Benjamin Franklin was. Very, very special person. He wrote, "The early morning has gold in its mouth." Wow, beautiful quotation. Benjamin Franklin, he wrote, "The early morning has gold in its mouth." What did Benjamin Franklin mean? What does that mean that the early morning has gold inside the mouth? What does that mean? How is it related to the story? Think about it and write your answers in your notebook. I'll be back soon. Hi again. Let's look at what Benjamin Franklin, the famous American scientist, philosopher, he was a philosopher, someone that thinks a lot and brings ideas about life and about general things about life. He's a philosopher. Benjamin Franklin was also a scientist. So he said, "The early morning has gold in its mouth." What did he mean? He meant that those that get up early, get up at crack of dawn, or they are early birds, they can get up early and they hear the birds singing, tweaking, they have gold in their mouth. It's like they have such a long day in front of them, they can do a lot of things. I think that's what he meant. How is it related to our story? Well, our story talks about the early bird, that he got up very early in the morning. He was an early riser, and he had his whole day in front of him to do as many things as he could. And this is what Benjamin Franklin meant too. The early morning, for those who get up early in the morning, they have a long day in front of them to do as many things as they can. I would like to talk to you a little bit about early risers, people that get up early at the crack of dawn, or early birds. What is early bird? An early bird, as I said before, people who get up very early, you can hear, it's unbelievable, you can hear the birds singing when you get up very early in the morning. I love doing that. Let's read what I wrote here. Waking up early allows a person to start my day in a very relaxed way. Start your day too. If you get up early, you have time to eat breakfast, healthy breakfast, read the news maybe, and you can start the day in a very relaxed way. You can do a little bit of exercise too. In a 2008 study, Harvard professor Christoph Randler, this is a person who went to Professor Christoph Randler. He was a professor at a very famous university, Harvard University. And he studied in 2008, he studied people that got up very early. He wanted to find out more information about them. What did Professor Randler find? He found that early risers are more active. They are more active, they do more things. He also found that morning people have less health problems. They suffer from less problems. You know why? Because they get up early, they are relaxed, they eat a healthy breakfast, maybe they exercise, so eventually they have less health problems. Are you a morning person? I am definitely a morning person. I get up in the morning, I open my windows, and I love listening to the birds singing. Look at the picture here. What is the connection between the picture here and the story? Think about it. What is the connection between the picture? What do you see in the picture? There is a man with a hammer in his hand and his alarm clock. What is he doing? He's trying to bang on his alarm clock. What is the connection between the picture and the story we just read? I'll tell you what I think about this connection. I think that sometimes people are like the worm. They don't like to hear their alarm clock. So it's not real, they don't use a hammer, but they shut off their alarm clock and they continue sleeping. Sometimes it's okay, but when you quote, waste your life sleeping, you don't do a lot of things in life. You should get up early, be on time to school, and to your work, and start your morning very early like the professor from Harvard suggests. So that's why this picture is a little funny, because you shouldn't bang your alarm clock with a hammer. You should get up when the alarm clock rings. Get up and have good breakfast, exercise, and start your day as an early bird riser. So, are you an early riser or a later riser, a late riser? There is a mistake, there should be late riser. Are you an early riser or a late riser? When do you get up in the morning? Early, or do you get up at noon, at 12 o'clock in the afternoon? I would like you to draw your morning. What do you do in the morning? And write 2 sentences about your morning using the new vocabulary words from today. I'll be back. Are you an early riser or a late riser? What did you write? How did you draw your morning? And what did you write for the 2 sentences about your morning? I'm very curious to know what you wrote. See you soon! Hi again. What did you write in your 2 sentences about your morning? I hope you wrote very interesting sentences. Let's continue. Now, we have reached the end of the lesson, and you can read and write new words. For example, dawn, nest, for example. You can also read and write new expressions. For example, early bird, call it a day. We have read a story today, and we reflected on the moral of the story. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Rivka Rosenberg, and I hope to see you soon.